if you become serious about learning something meaningful, then it will naturally ooze out of you. The problem in the age of content creators and influencers and speakers is that you're constantly looking for content to deliver, but not for your own nurturing, to nurture your following. And that's a sickness.
My last question is, what advice would you give aspiring Islamic speakers, women?
So my advice is unconventional, but since you asked, my dear, I'm going to give you my honest opinion. There's an axiom in Arabic, I really like it. Al-ina'u bima fihi yandahu. Container pours out what it contains. So if you become serious about learning something meaningful, then it will naturally ooze out of you. The problem in the age of content creators and influencers and speakers is that you're constantly looking for content to deliver, but not for your own nurturing, to nurture your following. And that's a sickness. If you become a serious learner, for me that was Quran. That was when I was 19. I'm still studying Quran. It hasn't worn off, the desire to study the Quran. And I feel like I'm just getting started. Honestly, that's how I feel like. But whatever I do learn, I like to share passionately because it moves me. It inspires me, right? So if you, and I know it's hard to believe, but I never aspired to be a speaker. But I just really wanted to learn this stuff. And I found out that when I talk about it, I remember it better. And when I talk about it, it demonstrates to me that I properly understood it, right? So like, you know how the best students in a class become tutors, right? It's kind of that formula. So then I gave myself a formula, and that formula was, I'm not going to learn to teach, I'm going to teach to learn, right? So I reverse engineered that formula, and then one has to know themselves. I think I have a relatively good understanding of myself. I'm incredibly lazy. I'm like, it's almost supernatural how lazy I am. So what I do is I put myself in a position of teaching at some point in the future, giving myself a deadline for how much I have to study. There's no way if I'm not under pressure, I don't study. So, and I better study it well enough that I can teach it, right? So that's the formula. The other thing I'll tell you is that I've been doing this a long time, so I have a certain amount of fame and certain amount of public speaking experience, which means even if I was speaking out of thin air and I had no idea what I was talking about, I can sound very compelling. I'm good at selling emptiness because style can compensate for substance, right? So if I didn't study for 3 years, 5 years, and I just gave talks every week, I could still give a talk, and I'd still have a following. But that would be a serious problem because now my motivations are others. They have nothing to do with me, right? I'm teaching you guys less than 3 hours a day. Behind each of those 3 hours, there's at least 20 hours to 25, 30 hours of my work, right? That's not for you, that's for me, right? And then the last part of it, the hardest part of it is, how do I take this 30 hours of stuff and shave off things and reduce things so that it can fit, that you can get it, right? So that's the last part. But for anybody who's serious about contributing, just know that the world doesn't need more hyperbole. The world needs more substance. And there's a lot of hyperbole, a lot of like people that think they have interesting hot takes that the world needs to hear, but they're not rooted in anything real. You're not really studying anything, right? And we're just adding to the contamination of noise that's already there, right? So be a person of substance. That's what my best advice could be, is be a person of substance, inshallah.
I hope you guys enjoyed that video clip. My team and I have been working tirelessly to try to create as many resources for Muslims to give them first steps in understanding the Quran all the way to the point where they can have a deep, profound understanding of the Quran. We are students of the Quran ourselves, and we want you to be students of the Quran alongside us. Join us for this journey on BayyinahTV.com, where thousands of hours of work have already been put in. And don't be intimidated, it's step by step by step, so you can make learning the Quran a part of your lifestyle. There's lots of stuff available on YouTube, but it's all over the place. If you want an organized approach to studying the Quran beginning to end for yourself, your kids, your family, and even among peers, that would be the way to go. Sign up for BayyinahTV.com.